Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're looking at the 2024 House map for the month of October 2024. So just starting off with the first few races, I think we'll focus on California and New York first. So starting off with California, we have a bunch of competitive races on this map. And let's just get right into them. So California's 13th with John Duterte v. Adam Gray, a rematch. Duterte barely won last time around just due to a very low turnout election. I think Democrats are very favored to end up flipping this seat. They're already outraising him in terms of money. In Valadejo's seat, I think he's still a narrow favorite here, but he could lose this race. It's very possible. But I think he's acted moderate enough in Congress to win over a lot of independents and more centrist leaning Democrats, so I have him as a narrow favorite here in this very blue seat. Mike Garcia versus George Whitesides. Garcia's gotten lucky in the past. He faced a lot of weak opponents who he outspent and out fundraised. This time around, he's actually facing someone a lot stronger. He's outraising him and outspending him in this House election. So I really think Garcia's time might be coming to an end here in Congress. I think he's the underdog in this race at this point, especially because a lot of polls have come out showing him down here, which wasn't the case last time around. He was facing a very weak opponent back then. So his district has also gotten bluer according to redistricting too. That's another thing to keep in mind. It's a 12.4% district. He did win by a likely margin last time around, but that was in a more red-leaning environment in California as well, and it was a lot lower turnout in this district too. In the presidential level, we're going to see a lot more turnout in this race, and so far the signs are pointing to Garcia narrowly losing here, but he could pull it off, but I think he's the underdog right now. Going over to California's 41st district, with Will Rollins versus Ken Calvert. I really think Will Rollins is going to win. I keep saying this every video, but I really think he's going to pull it off. It's a Democratic trending district. He did pretty well last time in 2022 with such a red environment with not a lot of money on hand. He was able to make this district at least competitive. But I think he has a real shot in the 41st district, so I'm putting this as a tilt blue one. I think those trends are going to go his way. He's going to unseat a longtime incumbent. There we go. Now we have two races here, and I think they're going to be tilt races either way. I think Michelle Steele, she's actually in quite a bit of trouble. Democrats are making a play in this race. They're giving a lot of money to Derek Tran. He's making a lot of these polls very, very close. But I still think Michelle Steele narrowly pulls off the race here, but she's in quite a lot of trouble right now. With Dave Min, he's not the strongest candidate. He's definitely faltering a lot of polls, but Democrats are not giving up on him. They're still giving him a lot of money here. It's still a very blue district. Even though he does have a DWI on his record, he still has a shot here. And it's still a very blue district overall. Again, it's probably going to be a very close race. I would probably put it as tilt blue right now. The polls have it as tilt R as of right now. But Democrats are still giving a lot of money. They're still outspending Scott Baugh here, and it's an open seat overall. So there's no incumbency advantage there that Democrats have to worry about. So they're probably going to end up holding this double-digit Biden seat. So those are the House races for California. We'll head to my home state of New York up next. So I'm going to fix this map right here. Let's put New York's 4th as toss-up. Starting off with Long Island. There we go. The 2nd district's definitely safe Republican. I don't think Democrats are actually going to make a play for this narrow Trump district. And we're probably going to see Long Island trend to the right a bit. I think Trump's going to do very well in Suffolk County, so that's going to definitely buoy Republican House candidates' chances here. In New York's 1st, it's still a likely R race. I still think Nicholas LaLota is the favorite here. He is running against a decent Democratic candidate, but it's a Trump district, a narrow Trump +2 district. It was changed in redistricting from a narrow Biden one to a more Trump-leaning one. So I think he's the favorite here, especially with the Republican trends on Long Island. New York's 3rd, Tom Suozzi is probably going to easily win. I don't think he's in any real chance at actually losing here. They shored up his district even to make sure he was safe. Anthony D'Esposito. I think he's pretty much done. There's been a scandal leaked about him. He had an affair. He was using congressional funds to pay her in a job which violates ethics. So that's a pretty big deal, have a scandal like that. Plus, he isn't the most moderate House representative either. So I think he's in real trouble here. He is facing a rematch against Laura Gillen, but I think she's going to pull it off here. I think Laura Gillen's going to end up winning this district, avenging her loss last time around in 2022. Pat Ryan, he's also doing a pretty good job in New York's 18th. I think he's probably going to end up winning here by a much larger margin than last time. I have this as a likely blue race. In New York's 22nd, Brandon Williams is just too Trumpy for such a blue district right now. They shored up this district and redistricting made it safe blue. But I think it's going to be about a likely blue district. I think he's very likely to lose here. And then we have Mark Molinaro versus Josh Riley again. Riley was a good candidate. He nearly won this district. He only lost by 2,000 votes last time around. So I think Molinaro is going to be in a bit of trouble here. I think it's 19th, probably going to be a bit more competitive than the 17th right now, just due to candidate quality. And I think it's going to be about a tilt Republican race. I think Molinaro still wins, but barely, just like last time. The 17th district. Looking at this one, we have a third-party candidate who won the Working Families primary in New York, and he's taking like 3% away from Mondaire Jones. Even in Mondaire Jones' own internals, he's down to Michael Lawler. So I think Lawler is a pretty heavy favorite in this district to have him winning by about 2% right now, just due to those votes splitting and Mondaire Jones not being the strongest candidate. So this is my New York House map as of right now. Democrats win in the 4th, the 3rd, 18th, the 22nd of the swing districts, while Republicans take the other two. So pretty even House map still. Let's just get down with a few more races. In Colorado, we got two competitive races. I think Caravejo pulls off the race here. Usually polls underestimate her in this district typically. Colorado's third. It's going to be third. It's going to be decently close. The Democratic candidate is a blue dog Democrat as well. But Lauren Boebert's no longer in this seat. He's facing a new Republican in an open seat, so that's a lot better for Republicans this time around. So I have this as a lean Republican race. It's still a very Trumpy district as well. In Oregon, we have Lori Chavez de Rimmer. She's facing someone who beat her before in the Oregon state legislature. So she's facing a pretty strong Democratic candidate this time around. However, polls indicate a pretty close race right now. So I'm putting this as a tilt blue flip as of right now. She has a shot at winning when it used to be a lean Democratic district in my previous ratings. Alaska at large, I think Batola ends up winning. She has ranked choice voting on her side, and she's a very well-liked politician in Alaska. So I think she's going to keep on building on these victories. And she's facing Begich, who she would have beat him back in 2022 with ranked choice voting. About the same margin she beat Sarah Palin by. So this is a lean Democratic district. In Washington's third, you take a look at the partisanship of this district. It's a narrow Trump district. He won it by 4 last time around. But lucky for Marie Perez, she's facing Joe Kent again, who's a very weak Republican candidate. He lost the district last time around, and I think he's probably going to end up losing it again. I think she's done enough votes in Congress to portray herself as a moderate in this district, and that'll help her out here. Let's head to Maine second. And a lot of people are saying that the vibes are Jared Golden's might end up losing this race. And I could see that potentially happening. Again, he did come out in favor of an assault weapons ban, which would honestly hurt him in such a rural district that's very pro-gun. But the Republican candidate he's running against, he doesn't really have experience. So I think that's a big issue for him. And Jared Golden has been building up that moderate portrayal of himself in Congress for a while now. And he does have ranked choice voting on his side, so I still think this is a tilt blue race, but it's one of the more competitive ones. All right, let's take a look at the map as a whole. In New Mexico, second with Vasquez. He is facing a rematch here, but now that Harris is winning New Mexico by a decent margin, I think he's a narrow favorite to win here as of right now. In Arizona, we got two competitive races here. The 6th, I think it's going to be a narrow Republican tilt. In Arizona's first with Amish Shah and David Swihart, I think this is a possible chance that Swihart actually wins here just because Trump's doing pretty well in Arizona right now, according to the polls. So I think that'll have a down ballot effect in his favor right now. He also isn't really the strongest candidate for Democrats. Minnesota second was pretty much likely blue. Let's see. Is there any other easy races? I guess we could do to Nebraska second and Iowa. So Don Bacon, I think he's bacon. I think he's cooked right now. So far, he's been down in a lot of polls. Some polls have him down by even likely blue margins. Trump's not leading here at all. He's been down in most of the polls here by pretty large margins. So I think Bacon is in a lot of trouble here. He's came out in favor of changing Nebraska second to winner take all. So pretty much just make whoever wins Nebraska wins all the electoral votes. He's come out in favor of that, and I think that angered a lot of voters who really prefer them having a voice here as a single district. And I think this is going to be a lean blue race. I think he's on pace to lose by a pretty good margin. No longer tilt. Let's head to Iowa next. So far, the Seltzer poll had Trump up by 4. The Siagnal poll only had Trump up by 6 in Iowa. So there's a real shot these two competitive swing districts are in play for the Democrats. Taking a look at the partisan lean of these districts, I would probably put Iowa's third as tilt Republican. It's a bit more bluer than Iowa's first, but Iowa's first is actually trending a bit blue, I believe, from what I've read online. So there's a real shot here that Miller Meeks could lose. She only won in the primary by like 8%. So she isn't the most strong candidate in a lot of these races. So I'm probably going to put this race as lean Republican, while this one as a tilt Republican lean. So those are my two Iowa House ratings, but these races are something to keep an eye on. If Harris continues polling well in Iowa, will have a down ballot effect. In North Carolina, this is a narrow Biden district. So I think with Harris doing pretty well in North Carolina in the polling, she's pretty much in a virtual tie with Trump in a red state. I'd probably put Don Davis as a favorite to win here by a tilt blue margin. He could lose, but so far I think he's hanging in there. I think he's probably going to end up winning that district. Let's head to Virginia. We got two competitive races here. The second, I believe Democrats aren't putting a lot of money in the second district right now. They're focusing on shoring up Eugene Vindman, who isn't polling the best right now. He's really struggling in this district. He skipped out in the debate here, so he isn't the strongest Democratic candidate, but it's still a very blue district, just presidentially. So I have this as a lean blue district, while I have a second district as lean Republican. He could very well lose that district if Trump gets Virginia below 5. So that's something to keep an eye on. I guess we could go to New Jersey, then Pennsylvania, then Michigan. New Jersey only has one competitive district, by the way. It's the 7th. So Tom Keene, so far Democrats aren't putting a lot of money into this district, but Sue Altman has been outraising, or she's funded like $2.1 million, which is a lot for a House candidate. So she's actually doing a good job of raising money by herself here. So instead of this being a lean Republican race, I'm going to put it down to tilt Republican because she has a lot of energy on her side. It is still a Biden plus 4 district after all. And even though the Keene family may have a family legacy in New Jersey, It's still a decently blue district here, but I think it still goes Republican at the end of the day, but it's a lot more competitive than it used to be. Pennsylvania up next. So looking at these races, I guess we'll start off with the 10th, and I think this is a Democratic trending district, and I'm going to put this as a tilt Republican one. I think Democrats have a real shot at winning here. Polling actually shows them leading by a little bit in this district, so they're putting a lot of money into trying to flip this one, and it's something to keep an eye out for. But I still think Scott Perry narrowly holds on here, but he could very well lose. This is a potential flip that we could see happen here, and that'll be actually pretty interesting to see a Trump +4 district trend to the left here. It's been trending that way for a while now. The 7th and 8th district. I think what determines who wins the 8th district is who wins it presidentially. But at the same time, Cartwright did win when Hillary was running back in 2016, so maybe that isn't the case. Now that I think about it, I think he could pull off a win even if Trump wins the state. I don't know. It's going to be pretty close. It's going to be pretty dicey for him because I think it is a more Republican trending district after all. So maybe that is the case, that whoever wins Pennsylvania probably takes this district with them. I think I'll probably go with that. So far, I think Harris is narrowly favored in the state of Pennsylvania, which is why PA's 8th district is a tilt blue categorization. In PA 7th, I think it really doesn't matter who wins PA for her. As long as Trump doesn't win PA by a lean Republican margin, she's going to end up winning this district. So I have this district as I'd probably put it as about lean blue if Harris ends up winning the state of Pennsylvania. If she loses, it'll probably go down to tilt blue. And now we're down to Michigan. We got two competitive races here. I'm going to put John James's race as actually tilt Republican. Polling has shown he's not doing the best here, and Democrats can make a late play in this race against him. So I'm putting this as a tilt Republican race. He isn't the strongest candidate as of right now. He really underperformed in 2022, honestly. So it's a narrow Republican advantage here in Michigan's 10th. In the 8th and 7th district, we have Paul Judge. I think that's how you say his name. But he has a scandal erupted about him, another cheating scandal. So he's having an affair again. And he's run a few times in Michigan's House races, and he lost every single time. So he's becoming a perennial candidate. He just keeps on losing, and I just don't think it's going to change here. I think he's going to end up losing again here. I think Ruvit's going to be the next representative out of Michigan's 8th. Michigan's 7th is a different story. It's a lot more competitive as of right now. Barrett hasn't had any scandals come out about him, so he has a shot here. But with Harris likely winning the state of Michigan, I think she takes this district with her down ballot coattail. So I have this as a tilt blue district. So let's take a look at the map overall. I have 9 tilts on either side, perfectly balanced. And we're looking at a 220 Democrat total House majority to 215 Republicans. So, again, this House map's very much in play. Whoever wins the presidency likely will take the House with them. That's just my take right now. But that's currently how I see it. The House map, I think Democrats have a 57% chance at winning as of right now. So, thanks everyone for watching. If you're new to this channel, I'd highly recommend subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Other than that, let me know down in the comments below, what is your House map predictions? And tell me the total House seats you think. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.